Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome to Autism and Us Parent Support Group and Parent-Based Community. I'd like to welcome everybody here this Saturday afternoon, and we have some special guests with us today. We'll be discussing our children after they become adults. When they hit 18, things change. So we will be discussing power of attorney and guardianship and why it's important to plan ahead. And hopefully we all will face these days, but hopefully we all go into these days prepared. So we have a bunch of good information with the 4 beautiful women that's joining us today. They're all moms of somebody on the spectrum. So we look forward to talking with them today. I'll briefly introduce, we have Lorianda, Brandon's mom. We have Dinah, who has Nathaniel. We have RJ's mom, Jessica, and we have Lisa. And if each of one of you guys could introduce yourself and describe in this case, your sons, and let us know a little bit about your sons and why power of attorney, maybe their level of autism and why power of attorney or guardianship you knew was necessary. Lorianda, you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, guys. My name is Lorianda. I live in Florida, Orlando, Florida, and I have a son that is 24 years old. His name is Brandon, and he's the love of my life. Brandon has autism, seizure disorder, sensory processing disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and then the doctor now is reviewing to see if he has some mild CP going on and Tourette syndrome without the cussing. He has Tourette. He just got the jerking part of aspect of the Tourette's, not the bad word saying Tourette's. He was diagnosed. He was diagnosed at 3 for pervasive developmental delay, because in the state of Florida, they cannot diagnose them until they're 6 years old. Finally, when he reached 6, he was diagnosed with autism.
Okay. Thanks, Lorianda. And we always love hearing about Brandon. So we're glad to have him.
I tell you, his level is he's a level 2, 2.5.
Okay. Thanks for that. And Dinah, you want to introduce yourself and Nathaniel?
Hi, my name is Dinah Guzman. I have a son named Nathaniel. He was diagnosed between the ages of 11 and 12. So he's a late start. His diagnosis is Asperger's level 1 high functioning. But he also has spinal stenosis and diabetes. So these are part of why I chose to take on a power of attorney for him.
Okay. Thank you, Dinah. And Jessica? Jessica is RJ's mom. Oh, we can't hear.
I'm sorry. Hi, my name's Jessica Rodriguez. I have a son that's with autism that's 26, nonverbal. I would say he's a level maybe 3, 2, 3, or 3, 4. He has OCD, which is he's very compulsive, has to be clean. Everything has to be in place. Everything has to be right where it's at. I do have guardianship on him. I live in Corpus Christi, Texas. And RJ, the only thing he was diagnosed with is just autism. So that's the only thing, is that he's just nonverbal. He does understand some things, but he still needs to be with somebody on a 1-to-1. And I get.
Okay.
And I don't know what else, but yeah, we're here to talk about guardianship and stuff. And yes.
Okay. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
And Lisa is Dana's mother. And Lisa, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes. Hi, everybody. And again, thank you guys for having me today. My name is Lisa Fulton, and my son's name is Dana. He is 23 years old, and he was diagnosed at the age of 3. It's weird. I'm hearing levels. I'm seeing this more and more when I'm in the new groups now, because that wasn't really given to us back then, those particular numbers. So my son, in this case, would be a 3. He was more cognitive because he's also intellectually disabled. He has a diagnosis of ID as well. So with me, I have a power of attorney, and I'm in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's really nice hearing everybody introduce himself and hearing about their sons and their levels, because this brings us to power of attorney and guardianship and the differences and the rights you have as a parent after adulthood of our children. Everybody has decisions in life to be made, and whether or not they can do it 100% independently when we know that they will need help, we'll have to decide whether on power of attorney or guardianship, and what rights we'd like to leave for our children to still have, and what we know we will have to be responsible for deciding for them. So what I would like to ask, and any of you can chime in here, first off, all of you moms, what did you decide, power of attorney or guardianship, and what was the needs of the specific needs of your child that you knew what to implement? Anybody? Lisa?
Well, I guess for me, I'm divorced, and I'm a single mom now. So with Dana, because of his ID on top of his autism, it's something that comprehensively he cannot make any decisions. He can't really answer questions. He was nonverbal until he was 4 years old. So even though he has words, he can't comprehend what you are saying to him. So I guess transition age here in Pennsylvania is 14. I know some states are 16, but here it's 14. And at that time is when I start looking at getting that, because they wouldn't even talk to you about anything, whether it was a TSS or behavioral specialist or music therapy. Like you couldn't do anything without authorization at that point. So I figured I'm not going to wait till 18 where people where they know they have to get it. I'm going to do what I have to do now. And I got the power of attorney. And luckily, this state is good with the power of attorney. It doesn't necessarily change decision making. It doesn't alter it one way or the other. People go the extra mile for guardianship here. But in my case, I always had great people around me and around him. So I really didn't have to go that extra step, because I know he's going to be here with me until I'm gone. And I also have something in place for when I am gone.
Okay. Thank you. And Jessica, how did you decide, and why did you decide, and what did you decide for RJ?
Well, with RJ, I decided when he graduated from high school. The school is the one usually that gets you when you're ready for them to graduate. They get you ready for all of this. They let you know ahead of time what needs to be done. RJ also went to Mary Gret, which is like a little college for them after graduation that they go for an extra 3 years to the age of 22. And that little school there, they teach you how to do life skills, which is catch the bus, get a job applications. When he graduated from there, they're the ones that had everything ready when I was ready to do power of attorney or guardianship. They had the papers there. I was already thinking of that because RJ was going to be 18, and I knew he was nonverbal, and I knew that if anything happened to him at the age of 18, that he would be responsible for himself. The reason I got the guardianship was because he's nonverbal, and I wanted to make sure that all the decision making, everything had to come through me first. They could not go through nobody else or work around him. Anything happened to him in the outside world, I would be responsible. So I did that, the guardianship, also because of our ages. Me and my husband were 52 years old. RJ's going to be 18, and I want to make sure that he's going to be here with me forever, and nobody will take him away or do anything to him without my consent. So that was my main reason for getting the guardianship. And the decision making was for that reason, because of his age and because he's an adult. And yeah, it was time. At the age of 18, that's when it's really time to get it.
Okay. And thank you, Jessica. And Dinah or Loranda, with Brandon and Nathaniel, what did you decide?
So, for Nathaniel, who just turned 18 on the 27th of January. So, yes, I know, but it was a bittersweet moment for me. I had to think about this when he was turning 17. And I encourage everyone, if they're going to make a decision, try to do it before they hit 18, because they're an adult at 18. You're locked unless you don't have something in place like power of attorney or guardianship. They become legal, and you become very restricted. So for me, back in December, I received a notice from the school regarding my inability for the transition of adulthood for my son, and I would not be able to attend his IEPs. And I was like, red flag. And then with HEPA Act, you can't go to the doctor with them. Their privacy, it now starts at 18, so you can't really go to the doctor. So here I'm scrambling to try to get doctor's appointments before he turned 18 and get all these things in place for him, because I knew the choice for power of attorney was based on he has some ability to be able to do things independently, but he needs assistance in trying to understand legalities of what he may agree to and have to sign.
Right.
So for my son, he can be a smart cookie, but between his obsession, between his anxiety, between all these factors that he has, he can overstress and sign something that I would be like, oh no. So Anita, I think you can agree with me, when your son takes your credit card and they're okay with it because it's your credit card. Now 18, it's a whole different thing, because you can be responsible for an adult's action.
Right.
So for me, now for Nathaniel, I was like, wait a minute, there's no way he's going to be able to adequately advocate for himself during an IEP meeting. I mean, he will say everything is fine, I don't need anything, and hear all the support that you put in place for them at the time that they started school will just go away, just based on him simply saying, I don't want it or I don't need it. So I had to talk to the attorney, and when I was deciding on doing power of attorney, like, what are the things that I can do to advocate for my son still without interfering with too much of his rights. And so she explained to me, get a power of attorney for education, get a power of attorney for medical, and get a power of attorney that will stipulate all of these three factors. So it would be education, it would be medical, and then it would also be financial. So my son now, because he's 18, has to sign a waiver with his signature. Now he's getting to understand that his signature is valuable. So he has to sign a waiver giving me permission to be able to attend the meetings until the power of attorney. It's like a 2-week process for all that to come to happen for Illinois. So it's still pending. We did this 2 weeks ago. We're waiting for the paperwork, but he had to go in, talk to the attorney himself. He had to agree that this is something he wanted to do. And I did speak with my son before this, and he said, Mom, does power attorney, if I give you power of attorney, does that mean I'm stupid? And I was like, no, but if they're smart enough to ask a question, then you need to go, okay, there's some things I should keep to a basic minimal. I think he can achieve some things on his own. So he had to sign in, he had to speak for himself. And really, they say if he can read, if he can write, if he can speak, those are the qualifiers for him to be able to make decisions on his own. We as parents, no, they can't make those kinds of decisions for themselves. They won't
Yeah.
analyze it. They won't think ahead. They won't understand the liability behind what they do. And so it's good to have these things in place so that you can talk to your child, say, I don't think that's quite a good idea. I don't want you to spend your money in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And say you need these services. So that's what my son did. Oh, and another thing, if your child is graduating for high school, get those transcripts before they turn 18. Because once they turn 18, you cannot ask for that child's transcript. They have to go in themselves. So I had to have my son called 3 times to ask for a copy of his transcripts because he just couldn't do it. So get these things in place so that before they hit 18, you can basically get his identification for him while he's still underage, an ID, a passport, transcripts, and just things that you're going to need for him when he turns 18, his social security, his ID. Here in Illinois, we have to do a real ID. So, of course, when you're 18, what mail do they get? I was like, what do you mean he has to have 2 pieces of mail? But realistically, if you were an adult without autism or a special need, you wouldn't have that problem. So I am running into some difficulties because I procrastinated a little bit, thinking I had a little bit of time.
Okay. Hey, Dinah, hang on to that. You have a lot of good information, and I know that you're relevant to some of these questions over here.
Okay.
Let me let Lorianda introduce herself briefly, and then we'll start to go. I know everything you're saying, I know everyone's going to ask. So hold on 1 second. Okay, Lorianda.
Hi. Okay. So Brandon, I have a power of attorney for Brandon. I got Brandon's power of attorney when he turned 18, actually like a day after he turned 18. Piggybacking off of Dinah, she's right. You need to start. I know in the state of Florida, we normally, before we decided we're going to do a power of attorney or guardianship or guardian advocacy here in the state of Florida, we start thinking about it at the age of 16. They give you like 2 years to research, decide of what you want to do. I chose power of attorney for Brandon because at the time, Brandon was probably a level 1 with autism. In autism, he was more, he had more cognitive abilities, and he was doing well. Like as he's getting older, he's slowing down and he's declining. So I'm even in the process of thinking of getting a guardian advocacy for him because of that. But I did get a power of attorney. Brandon had to sign it. With the power of attorney, he has to be available to sign. In the state of Florida, we don't have to seek an attorney to get a power of attorney. You can, but we don't have to. You can just write your power of attorney up. And what I did was I got different examples from different people and different places, and then I incorporated it into what my son's needs and stuff is. So I included the medical and the financial in his power of attorney. Okay. And with the power of attorney, he had to sign it. We had to have 2 witnesses. I'm his first power of attorney, and then his aunt, my best friend, is his second in command of power of attorney. So something happens to me, she's going to take over for him. I'm a single mother as well. So another reason why I was thinking about guardian advocacy, and I will go into that a little later too, is because of guardian advocacy, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought I heard somebody. With guardian advocacy, you have a choice to assign like 10 people for his care in case you die, in case you leave this earth. So that's more choices, it's more planning, and it's still less here in Florida than a full plenary guardianship.
Okay, thank you for pointing out. That was something that I see people are asking. Do you need an attorney to get it done? And I see in Florida you did not need one.
No.
Okay. And so
In Texas, we don't need an attorney either. I got guardianship with RJ, and I represented him myself. If you represent him, you can represent. You can get an attorney. It's going to cost you more,
mhm.
through like 2,000 to 25. But I represented RJ myself because whatever I'm going to tell the attorney, he's going to turn around and tell the. So I might as well talk because I know everything about him. So I
Did
did
you
it.
have, okay, did you have to go into the court, Jessica?
Yes, I did. I went to the court. I got these forms here. It says the power. These are just extra forms because I made copies,
Okay.
and they're forms from the power of from the court. It says court, the county court of law. The forms. I picked up the forms at the courthouse. I represented him. They charged me $710 to file it. I had to see a judge. I represented my son myself, and I filed it at the courthouse myself. With doing this yourself, we need to go into the courthouse every certain amount of years, and we have to refile it to make sure it stays in the file at the courthouse. With the attorney, would have been the same thing, but I just decided to do it myself because I spoke for him because I know more than what the attorney does. And another thing too, being a homeowner, we also got a will. We want to make sure that our son stays here at home when he gets older. We do not want him to leave or go to any home, state home, or any place that they're going to take him away. That's why we just refinanced our house and we put our son on it. So that way, if anything happens, he stays with the house. And what they do is they have the healthcare people come to the house and they take care of him here at home. So with all that, doing that, the power of attorney gives me a lot of rights to do what I want and what I say. Uh, Doing the will also gives him the right to make this his home, and because once they belong to the state, and if you don't not take care of what you have to do, the state will take. But if you're a homeowner, if you do a will, you can put the will and put what you want and have your child stay there and let the home services come to the home and take care of him here. That way he don't have to go nowhere. He's already got his house. So we're in the process of that right now as doing a will with an attorney. But I did the guardianship myself, and I represented him. I went to the court and I filed it. I paid for it and I got my papers. And it's easier in Texas because in Texas here, uh, you can do it yourself. You can represent your child as long as you have the papers from the Social Security, the papers from the doctor saying he's autistic, autism, or whatever disability he has. You can represent your own child, and that's what I did for me because it was cheaper for me, and I'm his voice, so I got to speak for him, and I got to get my power of my guardianship like that.
I wanted to chime in. Now that's uh, of a lot of what a lot of us parents worry about when that time comes when we're not going to be there for our children. So, Jessica, thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah, especially them being at home.
And really quick, Jessica, you mentioned you have to go in every couple of years. And Lorianda, I thought I heard that from you before. How often do all of you guys have to go back in per your state to redo your paperwork if you have to?
Well, for my power of attorney, I do not have to change it at all, unless I move or something like that. Okay. For the guardian, in the state of Florida, guardian for guardianship, the court will appoint a guardian. Okay, and then our guardian advocacy is what Jessica has in Texas, where the parent or a friend or somebody can act as a guardian advocate. But in the state of Florida, a full guardian is somebody appointed from the court. It's not us. It's not the parent usually. It's a professional guardian. That's in the state of Florida, though. That's in the state of Florida.
Mine, I got to go every 5 years and take it to the court and just make sure that the papers are all up to date. Everything's still the same. And I have to make sure just so they can refile it for another 5 years. Now, I could they said, I think after a certain amount of time, I could do it where it makes it finalizes. I think when I get a certain age, maybe after I'm a senior citizen I'm not sure about that. But right now, for sure, it's just every 5 years.
Okay. And Dinah and Lisa, looks like you don't have to.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. Because I have a power of attorney only. I didn't go guardianship way. I mean,
Okay.
I understand what Jessica is saying when she's saying, the guardianship and Lorianda and all of that. But here in Pennsylvania, the power of attorney is just the same.
Right.
What I did was I worked for Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency for 23 years before I had to leave my position because my mother, who was my son's primary caregiver, passed away. So there, at that point, the bridge that it takes from 14 to 21, there's no, they push out services. So I needed that care. I needed somebody to be with him more. So one of the attorneys at my job basically gave me the power of attorney, like a vague one, where you just fill in the blank and you get it notarized and you just indicate what you need it for. And basically what I did was medical, financial, educational, personal, mental health, obtaining records, checking and savings accounts. So here I was able to get to be his payee here for Social Security. I was able to take it to every doctor that he had. I was able to even do the paperwork for the state, for the Bureau of Autism Services, in order for him to get a waiver. And like Jessica was saying, for somebody to come in. So my son has an entire team that comes to his house, comes to our house. He has a skill building coach, he has a behavioral specialist, and he has a community service rep, including myself. And I'm able to work for him in order so that I can maintain some type of income on top of what I'm getting, my pension, and still be able to get him the services that he needs. So I can use this for anything, and I don't have to redo it. I don't have to, they pretty much take it, make a copy, and it's good.
And right now, I'm RJ's provider. I get in Texas, we can get paid. I get paid for what I get paid for working at home.
So do I. I'm a community service representative for my son.
I do RJ's providing 7 days a week, and I'm through a legal. But having his guardianship is It's very helpful because it also gives me a lot of rights to do a lot of things for him, and make sure he gets all his needs, what he needs. They got MHMR here. They have under all these programs, HDC, everything. That's the waiver. So it makes it much easier for me just to be able to do stuff without them questioning me. That's the main reason that this was very important, because you don't want to have to get questioned when they're at the age of an adult, and then they feel like, well, they're already at that age. Well, let's see what he wants. Even though he can't talk, they'll figure out a way. They'll figure out a way how they can get an answer from him, or even from the gestures of his face, or how he acts, and say, well, he doesn't want it. But then again, you know what? That's what I want. So I got it right here written down. That's the main.
Yeah. And each of you guys keep saying things that pop into my mind. You guys are already popping out with the new information, or the more details. So we're definitely getting a lot of good information here. And before I get back to Lorianda,
I ask one quick question. One quick question.
Okay.
Now I want to go back to what Jessica was saying about the home and everything. Now, do you guys have like backup power attorneys? Do anyone else besides the parent, you being the parent? Like if something happened, we don't want to think that way, but if something happens to us, and it's their backup.
That's when a will comes in.
A will and trust. They call it a trust here.
Okay. And somebody did mention that, Nita. I don't know if it was, I think it was Lorianda that mentioned that you can list people. Somebody said 10 people you can list. Okay. Okay. And that's what you're talking about, Nita. Okay. Nita, were you done? Okay, I think that was what you were, okay, sorry. Lorianda, what were you?
Yes, I wanted to say that for here in the state of Florida, for guardian or guardian advocacy, they have to do an annual monitoring check every year.
Okay.
For the power of attorney, you don't have to do anything. But for the guardian and the guardian advocacy, yes, you have to do an annual monitoring and turn in a statement to the court every year.
Okay.
Ours is every 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank you for that.
that would be the same in Illinois. So guardianship requires a guardian ad litem that's assigned to your child as a guardian. They're also come to your house, do an assessment, an evaluation, talk to your child. So it's more strenuous on your child in your home because they do come and they do inspect it. They want to make sure that the living conditions are fine, that he's being taken care of, and mind you, they also give them rights. Like they have to earn. They should get $25 a month as allowance. So they do specify certain things here in the guardianship that is a requirement. Power of attorney, you do have to go to an attorney. Have the child has to sign, but that's it. You don't have to go to court for that one.
Okay. Okay. So thank you. And so Jeanette says, is a power of attorney better than guardianship? And I know there's no black and white answer to this because it depends on your situation, your state, your child, what you have planned. So I know that it's not a direct answer, yes or no, this one or that one. Does somebody want to explain how you might decide between power of attorney or guardianship?
Okay, I will. Power of attorney, you want to get that if you still waiting till later, like after 18, after your child turned 18, you want to get a power of attorney. If you don't have nothing, you want to get a power of attorney for period. Okay, get that by when they turn 18. Okay, and you can decide later if you want to change it to guardian or guardian advocacy. The reason why I say this is because, again, if you go, once your child, a day after your child turned 18, you go to the doctors, they shut you down. He's an adult. He has to answer his questions. He can't answer no questions. I have to tell him what he got. He don't even remember. The only thing he know, he got autism. That's what he says. But
Lori, okay. Mm-hmm. And sorry to interrupt you, but so people who don't know Brandon can speak very well, and some like say a doctor or somebody in a court may not truly understand his limitations. So when she says that he can say certain things, but he can't make these decisions or he can't decide those things, that can be confusing when somebody is very clearly spoken. But she knows his capabilities, and that's why implementing these papers are very important ahead of time.
For example, and Linda, thank you for pointing it out. Yes, Brandon is very vocal and verbal. He probably has almost like a 10-year-old vocabulary. But an example, I went to a law enforcement training for autism, and one of the questions was the officer asked Brandon in a practice exercise, do you waive your rights? And you know what Brandon did? He waved his right hand.
Yeah.
He didn't understand that question. He was literal. He was thinking they're talking about his right hand. Do you want to wave and all that? So he knows now to say no, but but at the time when we first did it, so he needs help. Like Jessica and Lisa and Dinah has said with their kiddos, he needs help with deciding. However, the power of attorney does not strip his rights. He can vote. He can decide on, if he decides he want to do something, he can decide for himself and make the decision. Of course, he's going to come through me. He's going to ask me because he trusts me. So I'm mom. I don't have to worry about him. Thank God. I don't have to worry about him, doing anything without asking me. He'll ask me sometimes, Kenny, wear a shirt, and he can wear his shirt, but he'll say, well, mom, I just wanted to make sure I could put that shirt on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas a guardian, if I had got full guardian for him, he would have had another person overseeing him, and his rights would have been stripped. He wouldn't have been able. The guardian act is the person, so the guardian would make the decision for what's best for him.
Like me, for instance, the reason I got guardian because, RJ used to look at people through the windows because he likes ceiling fans. He would go to my neighbor's house and look through the window, and he would see a ceiling fan. Well, if she wanted to, she could call the police. That's peeping Tom. So at the age of 18, the police can come and take him. But you know what? If they see him doing that and he's nonverbal, by having guardian, because he's nonverbal, they have to speak to me. I'm the voice of whatever so I can tell him, you know what? He's autistic. Then they're not gonna say, well, ma'am, he's already an adult. We can take him. Yeah, but with the guardian paper, if I pull this out, there's nothing they can do.
Right.
There's nothing they can do. They probably would put me in jail before they would put him.
No, they would. They would put you in jail because you are the guardian. You're the guardian. They would put you in jail.
I'm responsible for his actions.
Absolutely.
So that would make me look like an unfit mother because I went ahead and then, well, what is he doing outside in the middle of whatever looking through? That makes it look like I'm not watching him. That's why I gotta be on my tip of my toes 24/7 because he can put me in jail.
Yes, and that's just like we are with our own.
But
that's what we are like with our minors. We're responsible for what they do. If they incur some kind of fees or court costs because of something that they did, then we're responsible as long as they're under 18. And Loriana made me think of something about if we came across people, how you said he waived his rights. If we came across somebody who is just and I hate to say this, but we come across these people in the community, in school. We've come across these people before where they want to make it a little bit more difficult. We know our children best, but say they were to say, no, he's agreeing to waive his rights because that's why he's waving his hand. He's agreeing to this. We want to already have these things implemented when it's necessary for when those moments happen.
Because if it happens and he's 18, he's going to jail.
Yes.
Okay, and another thing I wanted to, thanks Jessica. Jessica brought up an important point that I want to point out. Some of our children, our kiddos, they're younger thinking, right?
Right.
So they may be 18, and some of ours, not mine, but I have had some friends that have 18-year-olds that are a little bit more higher functioning, want a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
Right.
Now, normally they will get like a 16-year-old or 15-year-old girlfriend. Okay. Well, that's statute. That's against the law. That's statutory rape.
Yes.
He don't know that. His mind is with her, the same mind frame. But if you don't have anything in place, they're gonna take him to jail for statutory rape.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to make sure that people understand how important to get something in place before they turn 18 because it doesn't matter. You can sing, you can holler, you can scream.
And let me tell you,
they're going to arrest your kid.
And right now I'm at that point with RJ because RJ, no matter what, he's a man. Regardless of what decision of God, he is a man. Men are going to look at women no matter where because that's their man instinct. Regardless if they're autistic or they're not, they can be. So when RJ goes and he sees a lady, a woman, he looks at their breast, which is normal for a man, regardless if he's disabled. But if a woman sees that or a young girl, they can say, well, that guy is looking at me. And he's looking at me down there or whatever, or he's looking at my butt or whatever. But see, things like that, the RJ doesn't think of it's a bad thing to do, but it's just something that is part of a man that happens because he's a man. He's natural. He's a human being. So those were the parts where I have to come in and I have to speak for him in case it gets into, because it has gone to a confrontation at a school. Where RJ is at a prom dancing with a girl and he's looking down there and he's trying to put his hand, so things like that is they know that they have a sick or whatever, but that's where that's by having that guardianship gives you the right to get him out of that trouble that he does not know that he's getting himself into, and he needs to be taught everybody else, but it's hard. But as they get to be men in their 30s, in their 20s, that's all normal. And I'm learning that because RJ's now is at his going to be 27, and he's getting that part of the sensations and all of that stuff that's going to get him in trouble one day when I'm not around. God forbid that it was my husband or somebody's there, but things like that are going to happen. It's going to happen because they're in the outside world. It's natural. It's part of being human, and that's where the guardianship comes in. That there's where we protect them. That's our
Yes.
protect. We protect
Yes.
them that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's very guardianship at the age of 18 for
Yes,
women
and
and girls.
it goes along with the thought that your child has when your sons were children and our children that we have, when they have a meltdown, they have a bad day. We know that that's right now, but we know because tomorrow comes in, it's a good day. We know that we're still going to have those rough days again. And the way that Jessica and you guys are speaking, you guys are planning ahead for those moments when this will have to be implemented, whether it's behavioral or decision making. You're planning ahead. And one thing I want to point out before I get to this question is that all of you are saying basically plan ahead, have the paperwork in order by the time they hit adulthood. But all of you guys have showed, all of you women have showed that you're not just implementing paperwork, you're implementing parenting with it. You are prepared to do your part as a parent, to say what you're going to do for the child that you said on the paperwork. So it takes both parts. It's not just the parenting and it's not just the paperwork. It takes both. So I wanted to commend you guys all for it. What you're saying is you're displaying that you guys practice both of those things. It's very important to have both and not just one when we hit adulthood with our children. So somebody asked, is guardianship, power of attorney, costly, or does it depend on your state? So first off, it's probably going to depend on your state most likely, and then it's going to turn on the route that you took, whether you had an attorney or not. So if you guys could each explain attorney, no attorney, power of attorney versus guardianship, and your cost. So if you can break down those four, then we can kind of compare at least the 4 states that we have.
So for Illinois,
Oh.
in Illinois, guardianship can start off at about $4,400 just for the filing fees, but it does not include court fees. It does not include administration fees, so it can be costly. So it could be up to $10,000.
Wow.
And
that's Illinois, with or without it. You have an attorney with all that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
With guardianship, there's attorney present in that aspect, but depending on, like, if you're a homeowner, depending on all the things that you have, that's what's going to generate your cost for that guardianship, because then the more paperwork has to be filled out. For power of attorney here, it's less than 500, and it could be even less if you're depending on how many stipulations you want on your power of attorney. But that basically it is between 400 and 500.
Wow. In Texas here, it'll cost you with an attorney about $2,500. Without an attorney, it'll cost you about $800 if you do it yourself, the paperwork yourself.
And this is guardianship.
This is guardian. Yes. If you get a decision making, any kind of decision making, we have the state here will help you. The state will help you get that on your own without having to pay. And that comes from our state, the Social Security. They will help you get that. The Social Security will help you get, which is called the ARC of Texas. Here it's called the ARC of Texas. This is from the Social Security. They will send you this, and this is called decision making. And this is all you got to do is get somebody to sign it. You sign it and get somebody to notarize it. That's it. Just get it notarized and keep it in your file. This is good for, and where you sign where it says date, you put for life. For life. It's good for life. This is good for life, which is this.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we can't hear.
Okay. I'm sorry. If the state will pay for decision making through the Social Security, they will
we
not.
did hear that. Your thing just went out. It just went out. So you're talking about, it's called the ARC of Texas?
The ARC of Texas is from the state. It's from the Social Security. As soon as you, the state will help you do this for free. All you got to do is get somebody to sign. You sign, take it to a notarizer, and they'll notarize it. They notarize it right here in the bottom. and this is for the decision making. An attorney will cost you anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 with an attorney. If you do it yourself, it'll cost you no more than 800 if you do it yourself and do your own paperwork, take it to the courthouse. So I can do it cheaper for myself, or you can get an attorney to do it for 2,500. But if you want to do the decision making just to get you started, just so you can have something that shows that you have all the decisions, all you got to do is call Social Security, and they will give you the right direction where to go and get your state to send you a paper that says you have decision making. That's just going to be meanwhile while you do the rest, whatever you have to do.
Okay.
But you can get
Linda,
started.
I just wanted to mention, she said ARC of Texas, but ARC of America, if you go on their website, that will give you for every state that you're in.
Okay.
It's a
Thank you.
support too with attorneys.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Dinah. So that's ARC of America.
Yes,
And
the ARC of America.
the ARC of America. Okay, got that. Okay. And what about Lisa? How did you go about your power of attorney? The cost, courts, or not?
Yeah, no, mine's like I said, one of the attorneys at my job basically provided me with a general power of attorney, which included everything, like I said, from mental health to education, finance, any kind of accounts, checking, savings. Here you have to, and I don't know about any other states, but here you have to, with Social Security, be a payee, where you have to be on that child's account, and so it can't be any more than $2,000 and anything, regardless of anything. I didn't pay. All I paid was the notary fee.
Okay.
She didn't do that. We had a notary at my job too. We had notaries, we had attorneys. It's a financial institution, so we had all of that. So they pretty much just had my back where I worked.
Oh, wow.
And basically said the attorneys went through everything that I had listed for me. They went through the power of attorney, included everything that I needed, and also provided me with any type of general power of attorneys that any parents might need in the future. They can't help with the notaries, but I can help with some of the power of attorneys. So with some of my clients that I advocate for, I do provide, those power of attorneys for them to at least get started. Because like I said, I didn't wait to 18. I wasn't going to do that. I have too many clients that when you get to 18, like they indicated, they've already lost the right. So at 14, I just went into gear at 14 at transition age and got it done, and then was able to just, anytime somebody, my son has to have a procedure, and I went to the doctor and some other financial things he needed to be done. And before they could even ask me, I just flipped it out. Like, here you go. Because you know what they're going to ask for. You know what they're going to need. And what I did on top of that was do the trust. And my girlfriend does that in Texas. She's in Fort Worth, Texas. And so she has a business, and she handled that for me for the trust and any additional people that are in place for him. She took care of that as well. So I was fortunate. I didn't have to pay anything for that. So
Very good. Very good.
And
here it can cost. It can cost for a guardianship anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000.
Okay, thank
I
you
don't
for
have
that.
that kind of money. So
Yeah, it's something.
Believe me, we did
And it's
everything
definitely-
we needed for taxes to do all of my stuff. I had to do it for my taxes. So,
Yeah.
but the good thing about Texas is that they're very lenient and they're very good. That they let you at least, like, I didn't have to get an attorney. They let the judges here. Oh my God, they're wonderful. They listen, and they're for the parents. As long as you can take a proof that you're the parent and that they're disabled, they'll give you anything you need.
Yeah.
So Texas is real good about that.
And that is good to know that, like you said, you don't have that kind of money. We don't normally have that kind of money laying around. And it's good to know that if it costs that much, we can plan ahead and be prepared to pay that. And Lorienda, for your power of attorney, what was your cost and process through court, without attorney? And I know you briefly touched on this. We can't hear you, Lauren.
Okay, so I will, for guardianship, for full guardianship in the state of Florida, it will cost anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. You have to get an attorney, and it has to be go to court, get a petition of incapacitation. Guardian advocacy, it costs around $250 to $500, and you do not have to get an attorney, and that's where you can apply for yourself and pay the court costs. And that includes the 250 through 500 includes the court costs and all of that stuff. The 3,000 to 5,000 the guardianship, that includes like the attorney and everything like that. Here in Florida, we're on our own. Everything is separated. It's not like we don't have, like I heard Lisa say that, you know, her where she is, that the state or somebody, I don't know if it was Jessica, somebody said the state.
Jessica, yeah.
Well, no, that's not how Florida works. Florida is we have different agencies for different things, you know. So you have to kind of just research on your own and decide and see what you want to do. And then for my power of attorney, it didn't cost me nothing. I was able to, I drew it up. I typed it specifically for meet the needs of my son, Brandon, for medical and financial and anything else. And at that time I was working at another place, and I had a coworker that was a notary, and she notarized it for me for free. So mine was free. That my power of attorney was free. But I do want to mention that if you go in the state of Florida, if you do get guardianship or guardian advocacy, you have to get a level 2 background screen. You have to go to a guardianship course that through a approved trainer that we have here, approved curriculum that we have here, and you know, they'll let you know whatever, if you decide as you're going through the steps, they will let you know who the trainers are in that aspect. But you can't go to the Department of Family Services and they don't help you with that. They don't help you with guardian or power of attorney or anything like that here in the state. Everything is separate in state of Florida, kind of.
Okay, and so. One thing I want to say first, to remember most importantly, is the Arc of America. If your child is 18 and you haven't had anything implemented, or your child's coming up on 18, definitely check them out to find out how to have decision making. You want to be able to have that done to be able to carry you to power of attorney or guardianship, whichever you may decide. You want to be able to cover that time period. So definitely check out the Arc of America and go per your state. And what was that?
Texas.
Oh, the Arc of Texas is
the one
in Texas. Okay. And then before I get to what I'm going to ask next, it says, where in California is there help for me to understand? It's very expensive. Constance, I would say, I'm in California too. I would say the first place to check out is probably your regional center. Because for what Lorianne is talking about, what a guardian is for an adult, in California, our regional centers are like that for our children. They come in yearly. They come in and check to make sure that their living condition is suitable for them, that their needs are met, that they have adequate material things, food, that they have everything that they need. When they become adults, they will still go to wherever they live, whether it's a group home, independent living, and they will still do that. So right now, Constance, I think if your child's a minor, or if your child is in the regional center, definitely start there. And I'm sure that they can point you in the right direction. Now, the next thing is the transition stage. I received paperwork. Emily is now 16. In her paperwork with her SSI, when she turned 16, it talks about the transition age. So that's already assigned to me, but I already kind of thought 16 was the age anyways for me to start looking into what I will decide and what I need to get done and have the process done by the time she's 18.
That's the stage.
Yes. That's what I was thinking. It gives me 2 years to decide and work on this. And Lisa says 14 is a transition age in Pennsylvania. That gives her plenty of time. And so so I know Lisa started at 14. When did you three start, each of yours?
Mine
18.
is 16 years old in the state of Florida.
Okay. And
18
it
in
kicked in when he
Texas.
was 18, Loranda?
Huh?
And it kicked in when he was 18. It was just
Yeah.
all done. Okay, so transition started at 16, and Dinah is doing hers now, and he is 18. He just turned 18 yesterday, I believe, and he is 18, and you're doing
RJ is
power of attorney in Illinois.
Right.
Okay.
The transition starts between 17 and 18. Because
Okay.
of the way the school year runs, you have a child like me who still has 6 months of school to go. So, that transition kind of they give you a 3-month period after they turn 18. So if you only have up to March, for example, for me, to be able to do some finalizations, like getting their FAFSA done, and things like that. But I would start early.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
like it. It sounds
They
like it's a
usually,
lot of
they
decision making.
usually here when they get to high school and they get ready to graduate, they remind you of all that at the end of the last year on the last year of their senior year. It's time for transition. So usually it's 18 here in Texas, but they get you started here when they're juniors, so you can start getting prepared for when they're seniors. Because once they're seniors, that's it. So they try to get you ready before they get out of school.
Okay. And so if this is so if you're child on the spectrum is not 18 and this is the first time you're going through it, you wouldn't know when to start. So we would hope that schools will notify us or SSI will notify us. I know when I was in high school, when I turned 18 and I found out I can sign my own paperwork and I can sign everything, it was a shock to me because you don't think about that. But I didn't have to show my parents anything, per the legalities. But for them, that's when we need to make sure, like Dinah said, they give you that little window. And like Jessica said, they let you know right before that time. So definitely, if we're not noticing this or we're not knowing it, definitely, I would think 2 years is a good amount of time, even 4 years. But definitely it's something because we even have the decision-making process to decide what we will implement.
Right.
So definitely don't put it off to the last minute and then find ourselves in a bind that they're already an adult and it's not complete.
Right. And if you live in a state that the school, you're not fortunate, like Florida, they don't tell you in the school and all that stuff, then you need to start looking yourself and trying to find out the information, because it's not going to drop in your lap. Okay. It's not going to drop in your lap. They're not going to hold your hand.
And it's definitely not going to be done by itself, right?
Do the work. You have to.
Yeah.
So you can't expect it to just be like, oh, okay, oh, I got a present. No.
Yeah, the best thing to do, the best thing
what I did?
That's the best time is to get ready, because as they're getting into high school, they graduate, they're becoming adults right when they graduate. So that's when, if we're fortunate here in Texas, that they inform us on all that stuff. Actually, they also help us. Like on the last day, they have people there saying, you know what? Let's get that. They have the papers there with people from the state when they graduate, and they give us. They have us if we want to do the decision making there. They got notarizers there at the school that can sign for us the day that on their last day of graduation. So we're fortunate that they do that for us here in Texas. That's one thing, and we're very good here with the school about letting us know about everything, about getting us up to what we need to do for the parents. But yeah, the best time is just when they're going into juniors, into seniors, because that's when you know that once they're out of school, they're going to be home, and that's when they're going to be adults, and that's when they're going to be there all the time, unless you're going to send them to daycare or something. But since I'm RJ's provider, we do everything together. I don't send them to daycare.
But you know what? A good thing to kind of keep in mind when you are at an IEP and they start talking about transitions at that point, meaning your child can come to the IEP to try to possibly advocate for yourselves. That's when you can think, okay, now it's time for me to get started. Because anytime that they allow a child to come into an IEP or give some type of decision or can speak for themselves, or what works or what doesn't work for them, that's your key to start doing what you need to do at that point.
Yes.
Because here they don't do that. You gotta fend for yourself.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
transition coordinators.
Yeah.
They don't really do anything. You know, the thing is when the first time they said, well, he's of transition age, he can start coming if he would like to, and if you would want him to come. That's when I said, okay, now it's time for me to start.
Yeah, and that's a good point
to be honest, you want to do it during like 14, 15, but you may want to start early. Like you may not be doing any paperwork, but you may need to. I wish I would have thought about this when he was like 9 or 10, so I could have known a little bit more information and who I was going to put in place for things. And you know, because I could have died at when he was 9 years old. So thank God, because I didn't have nothing in place for him at that time. Does that make sense? So
it does.
It might be good to start.
You know, it's kind of hard
about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, so that both of your thoughts made me think of when I was a teenager and when Emily turned 13, and we're in the same, and I know it's HEPA, but so we're in the same medical HMO. My parents couldn't see my medical records after a certain age, and I couldn't see her medical records after she was 13. You had to file a certain paperwork to say that the reasoning why I still need to order her medications. I still need to know what her treatments are, and I need to know these things. Now, if it was an emergency, it would be different. But as far as me refilling her medications and seeing the list of medications she's on, I had to open that back up because they limited it when she turned 13. So they do start to phase certain things out, whereas I might have been able, like there was that paper that I had there, but you know, I would have to go to legal maneuvering to get to that stuff, you know, if they didn't have that paperwork. But it does begin earlier, and I can say that for myself and for her. So when we start to see those little restrictions is when we need to think, how can I still advocate and make the decisions that I need to make?
Absolutely.
That's when you start getting prepared. And it's good. I don't know what the IEP is, but here we have ARD meetings. The school has ARD meetings where we go every 6 weeks and we talk about their progress. As they're talking about their progress of how they're progressing in the system and how they're progressing for the year, that's the best time to talk about all of this with their coaches and what do you call it, their teachers, because everybody's there together, and they give you good advice what's to do and how to do it. So if anybody has any questions about this as their kids are entering into high school, the best time to bring it up is during an ARD meeting. During their ARD meetings.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I guess it's like what she was saying, the EP or IP
meetings, and that must be nice because here they don't do it. I mean, they're there, but they're not going to sit there and hold your hand. They're not going to sit there and tell me what I got to do.
Here they do, because we talk about their future. We talk about their future, how they're progressing, and they're very good about leading us to the right direction as they go in, as they're going into the next year in the following high school. So that's very good.
That's because I have everybody moving to Texas.
The schools are
that's what I was getting. Yeah, that's
they're the ones that got me prepared. Believe it or not, if it wasn't for them, when RJ, I wouldn't even think about it, because I don't think of things like this. You don't think about what can happen or stuff. But once the school tells you when they're getting ready to leave there as an adult, that's when everything starts coming to you. And for them to have everything, the information that they gave me, that it was very a blessing for them to do, because a lot of schools don't have to do that. And I guess the school that RJ goes to, they prepared us for him to be an adult and for him to go into the next level, and what we should do. What are we going to do as parents? As a matter of fact, they would tell me, what do you have planned for him? What do you want it to do? Do you want it? And they ask you that.
Spoiled like that. We're not spoiled like that here in Florida.
Yeah, well,
in Illinois, they do a support planning format, which again, Nathaniel can partially fill out, but really he didn't know what to answer.
Mhm.
I mean, they're not thinking about after I graduate from school. They're just thinking summer vacation, not
Yes.
realizing.
That's the assessments that they give you. Yeah, they do that for everybody because you have to. Basically, in an education system, when you're dealing with that's providing FAPE, that's providing a fair and appropriate public education. So they have to do those assessments for your kids, even if they don't understand it. You're gonna fill it out. You get tired of filling that stuff out, but you're gonna fill it out for them, as the parent. So I get it, but she's spoiled because I wish somebody would spoil me.
Yeah,
And that's what I always say. That's why I like, and that's why I like that we have 4 different states here, because every state is different with what they provide, how well they provide their information and make it available.
Yes.
And so
And
through our community, we see so many different states with this or that, or all of this, like say.
They're even good. My daughter's ADHD. She's not even nearly as close as disabled as RJ is. She's still verbal, but they already talking to me because she's going to be a senior. That they already want to have a meeting with me. What are we going to do in her? What's going to happen in her future? So that's the next meeting we're going to have. When we have our next meeting, like what do I want for her? Like what do I want her to do, or what are her plans? And they catch me off guard because I'm not even thinking that far, and they want me to think about it already. That it's
and
that's what it does. They
and that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, we gave birth to these kids. We in our mind, we give birth to these kids. We will decide what they need. And according to their needs or their limitations, we have planned to be there for them, make their decisions for them, provide for them, give them anything that they need, any supports that they need. But then you get to the point when you hear that you need paperwork to continue to do it,
right.
And you can't bury your head in the sand and say, oh no, I still am her, I'm still the mother, I will still be able to have these things. No, because there's legalities in this, in the government that you have to have implemented to be able to still do those things. So we can't ignore it. We have to address it, and we need to.
And let me tell you, a lot of people are scared to do this because they think of the money. They think it's expensive. They think we can't afford it. But you know what? There's help out there. You just got to call your state, find out what programs there's out there. Every city's different, so I can't say. But Texas is very good about helping out about that. They help me out. But what stopped me from doing it for a while was I was thinking about the money. Attorney fees.
And if you're thinking about the money now, the emotional cost and the financial cost, if something should happen after they turn 18, can be way greater than the one-time cost to get the paperwork situated. So it might be a lot of money. It might take time to get up to that. Definitely get some decision making right, and then it's definitely worth it, because have something happen, it can, like I said, emotional and financial cost at that point.
Knowing that he's gonna be okay, and that he's nothing, that I know that he's never, that I'm there for him, and I'm his, that I'm, in other words, I feel I can sleep better at night because I know that if he goes out there, nobody can do nothing to him. They have to come to me. So it's basically like.
It's basically like the paperwork we did to get their Social Security, their birth certificate. This is something that we need to do as a mother to be able to continue what we need to provide for them. So it's not even, it shouldn't be an option because it's too big of a risk not to have it. And Lorianda, what were you saying?
I would like to share with my Floridians that may be listening, for more information about guardianship, you may want to go to our Florida statute, chapter 744. That will tell you everything about guardianship or guardian advocacy. So that's Florida statute, chapter 744, and that's strictly about guardianship in the state of Florida or guardian advocacy. And it's got a lot of good information on there.
Okay, thank you, Loranda. Nita, will you post that right there if you are able to find that, the link? So Tracy asked about New York.
One more time, what the statute of Florida?
It's the Florida statute, chapter 744.
Thanks, Nita. And
Florida Senate.
okay. So Tracy asked about New York. Tracy, what I would recommend, because we have Pennsylvania, Illinois, Texas, Florida, I would say definitely check out the Arc of America, select New York's information for decision making, and I would say start right there and go from there, and you should be able to find the beginning or the first steps to be able to take.
Also in New York, because I have some colleagues that I deal with up there. You can also check with the Autism Society of America. They do have a chapter in New York, and they're very, very good up in New York with providing and giving you information on things that you need to do. So just Google Autism Society of America in New York, and there's different chapters in New York. And someone there will be able to kind of walk you through the process or give you some type of resource that you can connect with so that you can start your process at that point. I know for me in Pennsylvania, I usually give my clients or anybody that I talk to a list, because I do a Lisa's list, and that's a checklist on everything that you need to do in transition age. And that's including in Pennsylvania, your children still have to sign up for selective services. Even though they can't go into the military, their name still has to appear on that military selective services. So there's a list of things that you have to do here specifically. And I usually try to incorporate that in any way that I can so people know what their next steps are from the age of 14 all the way up until 21 and then some. So
Another resource I like to tell my fellow Floridian, because I saw somebody that said they're from Florida. You want to check out the Disability Rights of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Disability Rights of Florida. That's a group, and they pretty much lobby against. They promote. They represent the disability in Florida. People with disability in Florida, as far as like cases and like
legal rights,
big things that blow up.
Mm-hmm. I think every state has a disability rights. If I'm not mistaken, I think most states do have a disability rights area. I know we do as well. So.
Yeah. So they may help you too. They may help you also with the guardian, answer some questions about guardianship, power of attorney as well. Just to get it from a professional agency.
Yeah,
I want to bring what Sheila said. I believe this is very good information for any family that has to deal with and or interact with kids on the spectrum or any type of disabilities. Thank you for the information. Yes.
You're welcome.
I agree.
And thank you everybody for that. Thank you for sharing your information and your experiences. This is definitely helpful. I know I was telling Nita, I said, I don't know much about it. And I just know when I start to think about it, I get stressed, I get anxious, and I just want to not deal with it, but I know I have to. But having all this information, even though it's different states, I see that you guys have done it, and I see that you guys are okay. So I know that I can do it, but definitely, it's definitely important to see others going through things that we will be going through.
You feel such a relief once it's done. You feel like you've accomplished that you finished your duty as a mother with kids with disabilities. That if you did this, that you've done your part as a mother. That this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're supposed to do. This is something that has to be done to every kid with disability.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For anyone who has any limitation or disability, this is definitely something that we need to address. And it's just like signing, when we do our IEPs, if our kids were neurotypical, so my first 3 kids were neurotypical, then we had Emily, and IEPs came into my life. I didn't have them before that. This is something else. This is just something that comes with the territory that we need to address.
Exactly.
Whether we need it or not is what we need to decide and what we need. So it's something definitely, no matter how anxious it gets us, how much it stresses us out, we need to do it.
Okay, and Sheila, we are going to do a live just for Social Security coming up soon. So we will definitely let you know to join us then. We are moving into an hour and 15 minutes, so let's get to our last words.
Okay. So basically, do any of you have any, I guess the most important advice as far as us that are, Nita and I haven't gone through this either, so we're sitting here, all ears. Any last advice or anything that you would give to us?
Just don't wait. Don't wait. Just, I think it's important to, as you, what I call is maneuvering. I have to maneuver my child's life. I have to be the one to decide what's next, what he does, who's in his life, what he needs. So if you know you're going to be at that level, if you know what level you are in the first place, I think it's just automatic for you to start thinking about these things now. I mean, like I said, I started at 14, right when they told me, he has a right to be here at the IEP meeting now. At that point, I went into mode and just started the process because I was always a year ahead. I always kept myself ahead of the game, even in educational settings. I already knew where his placement was going to be a year in advance. I already knew what was something that's going to be. I just kept it that way to keep my mind sane because I had a whole lot of things going on. And then when the inevitable happened to me in 2018, when I was diagnosed for breast cancer, I got really scared because then I thought, what's going to happen? Where's he going to be? I knew he has his father. His father is there, but moms always, no disrespect, but moms constantly are always thinking ahead, always putting things in place. And the doctor said to me, what are you so upset about? We can take care of this. And my thought was, I'm not worried about me, I'm worried about my son. So immediately I start putting things into place, and that I should have done early, especially special trust and the will. Like, if nothing else, work on that, your POA at least right now, and then take it from there as they get older.
So I wanted to just put a word out there for parents who have kids in school right now, 16 going on 17, to start putting some preparations in place. Make sure that your IEPs incorporate assistance when they have to do their SATs, because they still have to follow criteria to get the state board to send you a letter giving him special assistance for those specific things. And then everything up until meeting his criteria for graduation. Again, make sure you ask for those transcripts once they hit to be a senior before they turn 18, because that's going to be important.
Another thing that's very important to remember, no matter what age it is, from the age of 2 or 3 or 4, this guardianship and this attorney, whatever you're going to do, has to be done. It's going to eventually have to be done. It can't stay like that, because then your kids are not going to have nowhere to go. If anything happens to you, this is very, very important. Remember, no matter what age, that it has to be done. Later on in the future, eventually everybody's going to end up doing it. So just remember, just because you have a 2-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old, I don't have to. It has to be done. It's got to be done.
And somebody said that in the comments. They have a 6-year-old and they're already starting to look into this because of the information they're hearing. And it's never going to be too early, because you'll retain the information and you will get there one day, like Jessica said. And thank you, Jessica.
They won't give you the info. They won't let you start processing at that age. They won't let you start until your state tells you, okay, this is the age you got to start. But it does not hurt to think about and get prepared and to think what's going to happen and how you're going to get his future done.
Yeah, so
exactly.
This is what's going to keep. You may be thinking about it 24/7, but the day's going to come. It's just like they say, the day will come. It's better to know, to get you prepared, so that way when the time does come, you're not scared to do what you got to do, because it's already been planned in your head that it's got to be done.
Exactly. There's preparation, planning, then, getting the process done, and then having it implemented. So it's stages that you have to go through instead of waiting for the last minute to complete everything, to even start thinking about it. So think and plan. Nobody's going to hold us back from being able to think and plan and decide what we want to plan. So
you got to remember, kids belong to the state. these kids, no matter what, they're ours. Yes, we're their parents. But if you don't do it the right way, the state will come in.
They will.
Yes.
Right.
That's how we protect them.
And that's the whole thing. Yep, exactly. And
but
it's scary that we have to implement paperwork to still be the parent. But yeah, that's what we have to do. Loranda?
I know that, the state will come in and we think automatically bad, but it could be good too, because if you have a guardian in place, guardian order in place, then that means the state is responsible for your kid. If
they pick somebody out, right? They pick somebody that they do. What does that work? Does they
always think negative, like, well, the state is gonna because there are good and there's bad. You know what I mean? There's the state will come in if something happens to you. And the thing about it is, if I know in the state of Florida, if you have a guardian order, if you got a guardianship order here in the state of Florida, they're going to be taken care of. The state is going to automatically take over and help
take over. Yeah.
Make sure. I mean, they may put them in a group home or something like that, but they have the responsibility and legalities to take care of that child. Or a child. I mean, my son.
Yeah, I know. Because they're always our babies, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're always going to be, no matter what. They can be grown as they want to be, but they're still our babies, right? And just like Lorianda said, we cannot like the process. We cannot like having to file paperwork that, this just made me think this, but we may not like the idea that we have to do it to continue parenting and being the parent and making the decisions, but this is the way that it's set up. And we still need to make the decision of what we're going to do. Do we want to have the control over it, or do we want to give it to the state? Right. So no matter whether we like the way the system is set up or not, we want to be able to have that choice. We do have the choice to implement what we want now. So just do it preemptively. And so I thank you guys, everybody, for sharing your information. This is so much information, especially for someone who hasn't gone through this. It doesn't look like as clear. It does. There's just so much information, so many different states that it feels so overwhelming. But I know when I'm on the other side of it, I'll feel better, just like all of you guys. You guys all took this well. You guys are all prepared, and you're in position to keep caring the best for your child. And I love that. And it's good to hear. From
what were you going to do for Social Security, Nita?
We're going to put together, and you can join us again. If any of you are going through the Social Security, we're going to do another one like this, but we're going to focus on Social Security and our loved ones.
Is that about applying for Social Security?
Yeah, we're going to go through everything that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And let's always remember too that, like I said, this is something that we have implemented, that the government has implemented, that we need to set up. We're dealing with limitations or special needs, and it doesn't matter what race, what color. Right. Everybody who has a limitation or a special need will get to the point where their child is 18. And regardless of, this community is a large community of many different races, but we know that this information is applicable to everybody across the board. It doesn't have to do with race. It doesn't have to do with gender.
It don't even matter how much money you have.
No, economic, no, it doesn't. It covers everybody. We all know we're here for a reason. We need to take care of our adult children, and this is something we have to implement. So
rich people that have to deal with this.
Exactly. So it's just something that's set up. So let's go into this prepared. We always know that going into something where you're already a little bit familiar with, you're already prepared, is the best way to go into. You don't want to go into something blindly. You don't want to go into something after the fact. Mm-hmm. So I thank you guys so much. You guys have been so informative. And I know questions are going to come up.
Thank you.
Nice meeting everybody. Nice meeting y'all. Nice seeing everybody.
Thank you.
You know where to find me. I'll be on Autism Awareness if y'all need me again.
Oh yeah. Hold up. Before we, I know you do some. Any of you have any Facebook pages you want to share? Feel free. Now's the time. I know Jessica has RJ's page, and a lot of us are over there. Mm-hmm. Lisa, do you have a Facebook page you want to share?
I do. I advocate for children with special needs for their educational rights. And of course, now that transitions, I've been through that, I do that as well, or any type of awareness. So my business is Parents Connecting Against Autism, LLC. I haven't really updated much on there, but it is on Facebook. You can reach me through Messenger should you have any questions about anything. And so, yeah, I advocate. I'm in the schools. Well, not now, but I'm in the school.
What is your Facebook? I want to put the link. I'm going to put RJ's link in here too.
It's Parents Connecting Against Autism, LLC.
I got it right. Parents.
If you even go up on Facebook, it should come up. Yep. I haven't done much on it because I think this whole remote learning has taken a lot where I should stop and start helping parents at that point. But I'm going to get back into it. The COVID has really taken a toll on everybody. So, but I do still advocate nonetheless, whether I'm on that page a lot or not. But I will get back to you within 24 hours or even before that. Even if you decide to look me up on Facebook, Lisa ARP-Fulton. I'll respond to you as quickly as I can.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. For Lorienda, I'm old school, just straight shooter. Just send me Lorienda Ellen on Facebook.
Dinah?
Oh, well, I'm pretty much like Lorienda, so send it all to her. I'm getting out of Illinois. I'm going to Texas. I don't know.
I think we'll all end up over there.
Apparently, Illinois seems to be the most expensive place to be.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking myself. I said, oh my God, it's so expensive over there. I always want to take the kids to California, or everybody wants to go to Disneyland. I'm like, oh my God, I have to save like 2 years of my taxes.
Yeah.
I would like to share too again for my fellow Floridians. If you do go with the guardianship order, you have to get an attorney. If you're going to seek an attorney, seek out. I know this won't sound crazy, but seek out a elder attorney for the seniors. Because it covers, because why? Because it'll cover, those attorneys have more information about discussing like the home and wills and all of that different stuff. You know what I mean?
Because they both often work with power of attorneys for the elderly. So they're more, okay.
Yes.
They have more information about when the kids are already in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah, good point. That was a very good point. Yeah.
Very good point, Lorenda.
Very good point.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get you guys, maybe we can get you guys one day to do something solo for us, solo live. But we are going to.
Are y'all doing any calendars this year, Nita?
No, we're going to do, Linda, what are we doing? Because Linda's going to start putting mid.
We're going to do, instead of the 12-month January through December, we're going to do the July through June calendar. So it's a fiscal calendar. So it will cover all of the school year, but it will be more of a fiscal calendar. So it will begin in July.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's kind of like a mid-year.
Because I didn't put out for the beginning of the year, things got crazy. So
Nita,
we're making up for it.
Listen, 2020 was crazy for everybody. It was COVID. Yeah. We had to teach our kids at home. People, you had to, you go to work, you don't work. I don't know. It's crazy.
And you're still doing it. You're still doing it. So
I know it's not changed.
I have one more announcement too. We are, because you guys know, most of you know, that we were going to do the event last year. It was going to be a physical event. Well, we're in the works now, trying to put together a Zoom type event. So of the same format. Okay. So hopefully we'll get all of you guys to join us. It'll be more for awareness. But I'll have more information as we get it together before Awareness Month, because I
Anything
just
for
want to do
awareness.
that first event.
Anything for autism awareness, honey.
Yes. So April is the month.
Oh yeah.
So,
Okay, y'all
once
keep me
again,
posted.
thank you.
Yes.
I
So
appreciate all of you.
we will be putting out there for parents sharing their journeys, IEP talk, therapies. So definitely, if anybody on screen or off screen is interested, definitely inbox us and let us know. And yeah, it would be it'll be very. Everybody's information is helpful. So everybody's been through something. So definitely don't hesitate. Don't think you don't have enough. Like I said, inbox us and we'll talk.
And if y'all
Thank
get
you
anybody
so
who
much.
wants to have information about Texas, y'all give them my Facebook so that way they can message me. Give them my name so they can, in case they have anybody has questions for Texas.
All right. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything, you guys.
Nice meeting y'all.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you all
you.
out there for joining us.
Nice to meet you
Don't
guys.
forget, tomorrow is
Thank
our
you.
open discussion. Sunday Live, let's talk autism. Hope to see you
Okay.
guys.
I'll give all the kids
Thank
hugs
you.
and kisses for me. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.